Hello and welcome to the brand new series of On the Bench. We're back from our short little summer break to get stuck into more sports discussion from the Lincolnshire and Humber region. My name is Rachel Chadwick and joining me in the studio this evening is the one and only Super Hooper Kev Hooper and his coach Sean Wood, and from Grimsby Borough Football Club, Mr Ken Vincent. Welcome to all of you. Kev, we've kept your seat warm from last series. How's the season going for you?
Very well. Good pre-season. Just shot from the ground to come to the studio after a 5-1 win this afternoon, so 3 points and we're on our way again.
Brilliant. And Kev, you've got a fight coming up in October. How's training for that going?
Very well. October the 5th in Manchester. Training's going really well at the minute. So.
Cool. And what's that challenging for?
It's the English Super Featherweight title.
Brilliant. So you got a good shot at that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, how's it doing, Sean? Is he all right, fighting fit?
Yeah, fine. Training's going well. We've been studying footage of his opponent. We're feeling really confident about it.
Good. Well, welcome to the show, and obviously welcome back, Ken.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much for joining us. We'll look forward to hearing from you a little bit later on. So we're back for a brand new series, and we've got so much coming up for you over the next few weeks on the show. Our intrepid and extremely brave roaming reporter, Matt Denson, is back after trying his hand at more of the sports available to you in the local area. This week, Matt's been down for a coaching session with Colin Bunn at the Grimsby Tennis Centre, so we'll see how he gets on later on in the show. And we've been taking a look at your questions for the boys at the View from the Estuary, and that's coming up shortly. First, let's take a quick look at what's been making headlines this week. In Rugby League, Hull FC lost out at Wembley in the Challenge Cup final to Wigan, continuing that dreaded Wembley curse. And England sealed a momentous 3-0 victory over the Aussies in the Ashes, with the final test ending in a draw. But to start the discussion, one story we were drawn to over the weekend is the crackdown by police on the internet abuse of sports stars. Hooliganism in football is rearing its ugly head again, but in a new form. So new sanctions are being put in place for police to deal with users who decide to post offensive content on social networks. Ken, how's your views on this, obviously being involved in football?
Well, we don't have a lot of it, but obviously I keep my ears to the ground, and Twitter and Facebook actually in non-league football is very, very useful in terms of the information we can gain from seeing what other teams are doing. The hooligan issue, I would presume, would be at the more senior levels of football, and I haven't got any time for it. They were not put there to do that. I've got zero tolerance on any of it. If they're caught, get rid of them. It's
a good mentality to have, I suppose.
I've no time for it.
Yeah.
If people are providing sport there for people to come and watch, and there are players there earning the money, and I know the contentious issue of money, but it's about sport, and the UK and England and British people love their sport, then I haven't any time for any of it. It's a zero tolerance from me.
Okay. And Kev, do you find this much in boxing?
Yeah, obviously you get it on the likes of Facebook and Twitter. You get a lot of abuse from certain fans. Obviously, Curtis Woodhouse was the latest one. He made national news in the papers, on TV. Obviously, he's called the Twitter King.
Right.
Obviously, he was getting abuse from this troll, and obviously he found out where he lived and knocked on his door. Like, guess who?
That's one way of dealing with it, I suppose.
That is, yeah, and obviously that made national news worldwide. So.
Yeah. And do you think that the police can crack down on it, Sean? How do you think they can deal with it? Because they're talking about banning people from football games and the World Cup, the Euros to come. I'm not
really sure, because it all really depends on what facilities they've got. Like what Ken said, it's very disrespectful, especially to a boxer, fighter. He steps in the ring. The boxing game, you're actually rewarded for inflicting pain on your opponent, and for someone to actually want to go into that, they need the red testing for the first place, and secondly, for anyone who steps through the ropes, be an 11-year-old child or the heavyweight champion of the world, they deserve respect. I don't know why these people they take it up on themselves to abuse people and try to humiliate them. And talking about Curtis, we know Curtis, and what Curtis did was awesome. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and like the kid, he apologised. He made himself look stupid, but majority of the people are just Facebook warriors. So
I think that's the difficulty, because you've got network sites that, you know, Facebook and Twitter and all these different things, where it makes it almost anonymous for people to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what the police are trying to do, is make it so they've got a face and they can actually act on it. Do you think that's possible for the police to do, Ken?
I do. I mean, I think the police force do a magnificent job, because we've turned hooliganism in football from what it was into a family sport again. Because if you look at the grounds and the games that are played in England in particular, you see full houses every week, and you see those young kids, and you also see a lot of women back at football matches, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's how it's got to be. The police can crack down. They cracked down in the early days of hooliganism on the intercity sports gang, which people thought were just thugs in jeans and t-shirts, and it turned out that they were some of the brassiest people from the City of London who walked around in suits during the day, but when they went to football matches, they carried hammerheads and wood axe handles just to show who they were. So I think they do a fantastic job, and I hope they carry on, and they can stop it. They've got the facility, and if it's not there, we need, as a country, to provide it to stop them doing it.
Brilliant. Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. People act differently on the street than they do in the football stadium, and I'm not sure that's quite right at the minute, but brilliant discussion there. Thank you very much for your opinions on that one. Such a contentious issue, and I'm sure our viewers out there will have something to say on this. If you would like to get in touch with us in the studio, you can tweet On The Bench TV or find us on Facebook. On that note, here are Tom and Sto answering more of your questions in A View from the Estuary.
Hello and welcome to this week's View from the Estuary. Well, ideally it'll be the best candidate, man or woman. I don't think sex plays a massive part, to be honest.
It needs a fresh look, whether it is a male or a female who does come in. Obviously England didn't do very well in the last tournament.
Let's not beat around the bush. 15 years in management is rare nowadays, so I think a fresh start, a fresh sort of look to the game, to the team is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and maybe as well it might make the FA regenerate women's football even further, so we can have a women's team in a Euro final.
Male or female, just get the right candidate to improve the team.
Yeah. It's going to be tougher for him this year, obviously the side of his draw, Djokovic and Del Potro's in there, to name but a few.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget he won Wimbledon, not so long ago. He won the US Open last year, so without a doubt for me, he can win it. He's no longer sort of he's not an underdog, he's a winner. So I don't think who he faces, it doesn't matter who he faces. I think he can win it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say obvious, but it's not a bad choice.
It's not, he's a very good young driver.
Yeah, obviously you'd go in at number 2 driver, I believe.
Yeah, be second fiddle to Vettel.
Obviously Vettel, without a doubt, number 1 driver, if you like. So Ricciardo, with him, I think it's not an obvious choice, but it's a good choice.
I think a lot will go on next season, whoever goes in, whether it is Ricciardo or anybody else, on the relationship between the two drivers. Vettel obviously having a few problems with Webber over the last few years. Yeah. It can't turn into Team Vettel. He has to acknowledge that the second driver's there, but it would be a good move for Ricciardo.
Watch this space, I suppose, regarding Daniel Ricciardo, yeah.
On the pitch, no. Off the pitch, most definitely.
Well, look at it financially. 90 million plus is silly money for any club.
For anyone.
So that's going to benefit them, because they can bring in it's going to finance 3 or 4 players to possibly replace him. On the pitch, as you said, maybe not.
But they have got some good players in at the moment. They've brought in Soldado, Paulino. They're looking good after a couple of games what I've seen in friendlies and the first games of the season.
I think Tottenham will adapt without Gareth Bale if he was to leave. So with the players they brought in, with the money from him.
Yeah. Well, that's it from us for this week. Join us again next week. If you want us to answer your questions, then you can get in contact with us on Twitter at OnTheBenchTV or Facebook.com/OnTheBenchTV. We'll see you next week. Bye.
That's it for part 1. Join us in part 2 for a look back at the summer of British sporting success and Matt Denson's report from the Grimsby Tennis Centre. See you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the show. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the past few months, it's been pretty hard not to notice how good we've become as a sporting nation quite recently. Since the Olympic spotlight was shone on London a year ago, our proud nation has gone from strength to strength, topping it off this summer with some huge sporting moments. Ken, Sean and Kev, we just thought it'd be great to spend a few minutes looking back at what's happened over the last year and discuss some amazing achievements of our homegrown sports stars. And there is a lot to discuss. You've got the US Open, it's got quite getting underway in the next few weeks. Obviously Murray winning Wimbledon and obviously defending his championship from last year. I mean, Ken, are you interested in tennis? Have you been following Murray the last couple of years?
I'm just a fanatical sports fan. I love every
You're on the
aspect
right
of
show.
sport. I think that the one thing that I am disappointed by all this is that we in Britain do not shout from the rooftops of our success in sport. And we are an absolute brilliant nation at sport. The Olympics, I think, showed that in London last year. It was proven to be the best Olympics ever. And when you saw the World Championships of Athletics in Moscow, to see empty stadiums was criminal in my mind. So I think we are, without doubt, and yes, the best nation for sport that lives in the world today. And yesterday, when we stuffed the Aussies, it was just a world beat for me because it was absolutely brilliant. Anything we can do over the Aussies, that's it.
Of course, we've had the British Lions,
yes,
and we've had the Ashes all
yes,
this summer, so the Aussies are way down in your expectations.
They are, way down. They can't win anything.
Maybe not clinically true,
They're
but
not
we'll
good at
go for it
athletics.
this
They're
summer.
not good at athletics anymore. They're not good at rugby league. They're not good at rugby union. They're not good at football.
There you
So
go. Heard it here first.
they've got a lot of work to do. The swimming is at the back end. They won 1 gold at the Olympics,
Yeah.
so that's right out the water.
Well, ironically, yes. So there we go.
As
then.
far
So
as I'm concerned, it was a fantastic summer. The guys in the boxing field, I mean, I was glued to that box when the boxing was on. It was absolutely brilliant.
yeah, I mean,
And
obviously you've got Luke Campbell who's gone
Yeah.
professional this year. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? That's obviously brilliant for the area.
Yeah, he did obviously brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously, just across the water in Hull. It's massive for boxing for what he's done in the Olympics. Not just him. It was the first year of female boxing in the
Yes.
Olympics, and obviously Nicola Adams got gold as well. So
Yeah, she's lovely as well. Every time I see her, I think she's such a lovely person. I mean, it's great to see up-and-coming sports like boxing who haven't had the spotlight previously, you know,
No.
in your lower weights and things like that. It is great to see them kind of coming through the ranks and getting a bit of press, really.
yeah.
And obviously, do you follow the Ashes? Have you been interested in the cricket and things that's been going on? You've got the tennis.
Not really. Don't
Lots
watch
of
the
different
Ashes.
bits. What about the US Open with the golf? You've got Justin Rose who won that. You've got the Tour de France. There's so much stuff that's been going on. It's kind of hard not to switch your TV on and watch something.
Yeah, it's been obviously great.
Yeah.
Great summer, definitely.
The
Brilliant.
Solheim Cup with the ladies last week was absolutely brilliant because when you see the Yanks looking and thinking the putts are going down and then they miss it, there's nothing better in sport than that because we stuffed them as well.
Oh, you're so
the-
competitive,
and then
Ken.
the Ryder Cup was even better last year,
Yeah.
and it's coming up at Glen Eagles next year, so we'll stuff them again.
Brilliant.
You know.
Well, watch this space. We'll have you back on, Ken. We'll talk about that soon. Now, as we've already mentioned, our reporter Matt Denson is back and keen to get out in the region to try out more of the sports on offer to you all in the local area. In honour of Murray's momentous Wimbledon win and to mark the start of the US Open this week, we sent Matt along for a spot of tennis at the Grimsby Tennis Centre. Take a look at this.
This is going to be interesting tonight. I'm going inside into the tennis courts at Grimsby Tennis Centre. I'm going to learn a thing or two about tennis. Don't know a lot about it. Brought my racket. Going to find the coach. Can have some fun tonight. Hello, you must be Colin.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
You're
You're
Matt,
right.
I guess.
Now, are you going to put me through my paces today?
Definitely. We're going to hit some tennis balls.
Okay.
We're going to start off with the basics.
Okay.
Drop feeding the ball for you to then hit, and then hopefully we'll get you moving around the court, striking the ball, and then at the end we'll perhaps do a little bit of serving and maybe even play a few points.
So you're going to get me to Andy Murray standard in 1 hour tonight, yes?
55 minutes.
55. Done. Deal. Thank you. Let's go.
My name's Colin Bunn. Started like every kid, hitting a tennis ball in their back garden. Really enjoyed my tennis, found it excellent exercise. I went and did my coaching qualifications, and then from there I haven't looked back. So what you're doing there is what we call a natural top spin. What you're doing is you're brushing up the back of the ball and it's spinning in that forward motion, which is what we call top spin, and it allows us to hit the ball harder and to still bring the ball down into court. Again, step out, step in. Excellent. And again, step out, step in. Really good. You was hitting the ball really well, striking it out the middle, moving really well. So we're going to, like I say, like lifting that bar, we're going to go to the next level. So I'm going to stand at the net with the cage of balls. I'm going to randomly hit a ball out to your forehand side, which is exactly what you were just doing then. And you're going to have to anticipate that ball and move across and try and hit the ball and return it back into court. Okay, so really good, you're moving really well. So what I thought now is give you an all-round look at the game. We'll give serving a go. We're going to throw the ball up and we're just going to connect with it and go over the net.
So, Colin, thank you for letting us come down to you. What a great club.
No problem, I enjoyed it.
I don't know a thing about tennis. I've just had an hour's tennis with you and thoroughly enjoyed it. Know nothing about it.
Okay.
Tell us a bit about it. Tell us the background of tennis.
Okay. Tennis has been around for a long time. Rules, we'll start with the rules. That's the best probably place to start. You've got a court, you've got to keep the ball within the lines, you've got to keep it over the net. That's the very basics. If you can keep the ball over the net and keep it between the lines, you're playing tennis.
Is tennis an all-year-round sport?
It is. Although people think, we only play in the sunshine, it's not at all. As you saw today, we played on artificial grass, as we call it, and it's like a carpet in effect. What happens is when it rains, when it snows, all the moisture gets pushed down so we can play. If you was to come down here on a wintry night, you'd still see me on court teaching.
Okay, and please, when I see it on TV, because again, I don't play.
No.
I see a clay court. I see an artificial court.
Okay.
What's the difference? Because they say people play on different surfaces.
Yes, some people specialise on different surfaces, and what that means is how the ball reacts after the bounce. Okay, so on a grass court is classified as the quickest court. Off a clay court, it's a lot slower. That ball will bounce up higher, and as the ball hits the deck, it comes away slower. So your timing has to be slightly different when you hit that tennis ball.
Colin, thank you very much for letting us down here tonight. Had a great night at Grimsby Tennis Centre.
Brilliant.
Please, how do we get involved?
Well, come down. We're off Willesby Avenue. Come down, or we've got an online presence. Google Grimsby Tennis Centre. All the details are on there, our exact address and everything. But just come down, get a tennis racket in your hand, and start hitting tennis balls.
You heard Colin. Easiest way. Get yourself down here. We're in the centre of Grimsby. Great facilities. Great team of people. Come down. Enjoy yourself. Thank you very much indeed, Colin.
Thank you.
It's been a great night.
Yeah,
Thank
brilliant.
you.
And Matt joins us now. How was tennis?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Again, another sport we're covering, especially with Andy Murray's success and everything. We thought we'd give it a go, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
Good, you had a good backhand on you there.
Yeah, quite surprising. I pulled that from a school days, I think, to be fair. But yeah, good teacher. Give me a few pointers what to do, and I was quite surprised it stayed within the lines, but it did, and yeah, it was quite good.
Makes two of us. Anyway, are you Andy Murray ready yet, do you think?
Not quite Andy Murray. Tim Henman, not a problem. All right, but Andy Murray maybe just one step out my way at the minute.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Maybe Series 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, guys, how can people get involved down in the boxing then, Sean?
Just turn up to the gym. It's down Ainsley Street. It's on the park. It's on a Tuesday and Thursday, and it's ages from 10 to upwards. So just turn up and train.
So any level, just get involved and
learn
some disciplines and build from there.
Yeah.
And Kev, you train there, so
yeah. I'm
the options are available.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. And Ken, how can people get involved in the football?
Go to the website, Grimsby Borough FC, and click on Junior, and you'll see whatever team comes up. You can click on there, get the manager's telephone number, and the training dates are available.
Fantastic. So did you guys see the Hull FC in the Challenge Cup final last weekend?
No.
I didn't see it, but one of my staff is a Hull FC fanatic.
Okay.
And he said it just rained all day and all afternoon and all night.
In his heart as well.
In his heart, and the sad thing was that they come home with nothing again.
Well, hopefully next season.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks to Kev, Sean and Ken for joining us in the studio, and thanks to you for watching. We'll be back next week, and we hope to see you then. Goodbye.